Hello everybody, I'm Gabriel Kramer, the host of NewsDepth. In this video, we're taking you behind the scenes to show how an episode of NewsDepth comes together and why it's such a valuable resource for classrooms across Ohio. NewsDepth is a weekly show from Ideastream Public Media that's been informing and inspiring Ohio students, grades 4 through 6, since 1969. It's a free educational resource that covers current events, science, history, politics, and so much more, all while supporting Ohio's learning standards. Students, teachers, and parents can watch NewsDepth on PBS stations across the state, stream it on the Ideastream website, or find us on YouTube anytime. So, how do we make a NewsDepth episode? Well, it all starts on Thursday. That's when our producer chooses news stories from trusted sources and begins writing the script. Once the script is drafted, it's reviewed and approved by a supervisor. Then on Friday, it's showtime. We film in front of a green screen, following the script, but also bringing our own personalities to the screen. The following Monday, our editors get to work shaping the episode's story. Then on Tuesday, we add background visuals, music, and sound effects to help bring everything to life. By Wednesday afternoon, the episode is finalized, ready for teachers to preview it before it goes out to classrooms. But NewsDepth is more than just current events. Each episode includes segments like Career Callout, where we highlight interesting jobs across Ohio, Politics on Point, making government easier to understand, Know Ohio, exploring our state's history, wildlife, and culture, and of course, Petting Zoo, a fan favorite featuring our pal, Newshound. We also hear from students every week through our inbox and poll questions, and we celebrate the incredible achievements of Ohio students through our A+ segment. Over the years, many talented team members and hosts have helped make NewsDepth what it is today, and I am honored to be a part of that tradition.
My name is Mark Rosenberger. So my title is Chief Content Officer, and I've essentially been the executive producer of the show for many years.
I'm Rick Jackson. I am a retired former host of NewsDepth. I did this show for 18 years.
The show started in 1969. That was before I got involved. The idea each week is to try and create a program intentionally for students. How do you make NewsDepth engaging and not boring? Well, first of all, you don't produce it like a typical newscast, because it's not a typical newscast. It's a show that shares news and information, but what you really have to do, and what we've always done with NewsDepth, we do it probably better now than we ever have in the history of the show, is we really get to know the intended audience. So what are 4th and 5th and 6th graders interested in? And what can we do to make the show not only informative, but exciting and interesting to watch for them?
There are times where we try to be a little more fun. You know, this is what I wore. I would wear a shirt, well, it would say Ideastream because we're here, but no suits, no ties. You know, we were trying to just be on the kids' level.
There's many opportunities for users of NewsDepth to interact with the show, and we hear from them frequently. And occasionally, people give us ideas on how to improve the show, and we always listen to that, of course. Ultimately, we don't produce the show for us, we produce the show for students and for teachers and for parents, and so their feedback is absolutely important. We came up with a reoccurring segment years ago that we first started calling My School's Cool. And it's literally a segment where students send in, they could send in video, they could send in photographs, and they would describe a certain project that they did. That segment graduated into something we now call A+.
Back in, I'm gonna say maybe 2010, we came up with this idea where we wanted to highlight all of Ohio, because even though the show is done in Cleveland, everybody's watching it all across the state, and it's still going on today. So it's been 15 years of Know Ohio, and I think it's really helped kids to understand more about where they live.
One of my favorite parts of NewsDepth is Newshound. I think the kids love that segment. You know, that whole thing started years ago because we realized that students really loved stories about animals. It seemed like every time we would put a story on the air, on the show about an animal, we would get so many letters. from kids saying, I love that segment.
The most fun I had, though, was when we actually went out to schools. We would go to schools. We went to Bexley, we went to Orange, we went to Chagrin. We were all over the place. And going in there and talking to the kids, sitting with the kids, answering their questions directly instead of mail, they really loved that, and we really loved that.
That's one of the most gratifying things about NewsDepth is the feedback that we get every week.
Teachers across the state tell us that this show helps students build background knowledge and make meaningful connections. And honestly, hearing from students, knowing that they're learning and having fun with the show, that's my absolute favorite part of being your host. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate having you in the NewsDepth community.